Alright, good morning. We're all set up and ready to roll. Right. Good morning, good morning. Gotta finish this up. First thing I'm going to do, is put a little glazing medium over this. I got the matte medium on that. Yeah, I think this one, the glazing medium. So we're going to get this a little bit wet. Maybe a lot wet. Just so I can see the color properly. And sponge brush. Good morning. Around kick. Put a little glazing medium over this to start off, just to re-enliven the colors so I can see what they actually look like. Like a varnish. Technically speaking, acrylic paints don't need varnish, but I think it's still handy to put on there. Let's see if we can't. There's just a little sketch today. I'm working on it most of the week, about an hour at a time, and just as a little test thingy, trying to play around with some stuff. So. All right. Away. And I got my fancy new brushes, especially for the detail one. And probably throw on these reading glasses so I can get into these finer, itty bitty tiny details. Let's see, I think we adjust the light position just so it doesn't glare at me too much. There we go. Maybe do little trims on here. The top edge specular. Right, so we did a bunch of stuff on the foreground last time, so this time we're going to touch up some of the background and then work in the foreground, hopefully, and then, finish this off today. So I am excited about that. Some of this. Let's get some of this on these edges. Create a sense of more depth, a little subsurface scattering. Good morning. Just focusing on some of these details today. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, by the way. for those of you know coming in, just working trying to touch this thing up, bring this little study to a close. That's mostly where I wanted to use that color. Let's get some additional subsurface scattering going on, the borders of things. A little spray can here. Gotta hose my paints down periodically with retarder medium. Drop on there. Don't need as much of this, but I do want to like what's overlapping, especially dark areas. Good morning. So working on trying to touch this thing up this morning. Bring this little project to a close. Think about what I'm going to do next. So. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what's next? Little variations of the lights in the background. Bouncy today. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. How are we doing out there? I feel like we're getting some. Trying to go through the touch-up process here. Clean up edges, soften things, and just bring this to a finish. Reduce contrast where I can, where it makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm working on. Is depending on how big or complicated a picture is, finishing it can take just as long or longer than getting close to the finish. Pop up some lights and things. So just trying to finish it up. I always have mixed feelings about kind of the studies that I do, because sometimes it's like, well, it's good to do quick stuff, but at the same time, it's also good to do things that are slow and take your time, really craft things back. So I think they're both worth doing. I think I've gotten familiar enough with the medium, and again, acrylic's not something I'm as familiar with, and so mostly because I've avoided it, but it's also just like it's not my main medium. So I was like, yeah, I need to close that gap. And since I do know how to paint, and I understand color, I think I do an okay job with it. That maybe now is the time to kind of pull this out and really figure it out. Since I kind of avoided it for a long time. So here we are. Bring this thing to a finish. Good morning. some of this other stuff too, but I need to match their color first before I use this color. Good morning, good morning. Right. Let's do the greens next since they're kind of popping up a lot. So if we want to neutralize the green, we add some red. I'm going to lighten it, but I don't necessarily dilute it, so I'm going to add in some yellow ochre. Might still need to use some white eventually, but let's see, I think that's a little darker, so I need some white in here anyway. A little bit more green. Should be okay, I think. So that looks a little bit lighter. Let's get some my retarder on there. So medium. That should be good. Yeah, softens that back a little bit. I'm using a kind of an egg tempera or a tempera approach to cross-hatching in the background. We'll work our way forward. Try and finish this morning, so more effectively finish it. Try to lighten up the background, keeping it in warm light. Is what we're trying to do here. Feeling better already, huh? Good morning, people popping in. Good morning, good morning. All right, next up, orange. Brown. Earth tones. So hopefully when we lighten it up, it'll work really nice. Just trying to brighten up some, clean up the background and kind of work my way forward through the picture here. It's a little warmer, put some of our Indian yellow in there. So this kind of helps keep things a little warmer. And start back up at the top. Get some of these oranges lit up and brightened. So, good morning to everybody coming in. We got exciting art plans for the weekend, things to study. So I got the reading glasses on so I can really see what I'm working on. It is so small. So it feels weird to wear these glasses because I never wore anything like these until recently. So it feels a little strange to have these on my face to work with. But I don't know if it's my eyesight getting worse. Finally, I've always had really great eyesight, or it's just that these are really small. But one of the other things I was bumping into was I would get a lot of eye strain from working on detailed stuff for a long time. So I'm hoping this will help prevent that. It would make it hard for my eyes to focus after a long art session, especially if I was doing anything of granular detail. So, super jumpy today. So much better. Good morning. Let's see, this orange. And let's get some gray blue up here. So orange and blue. Get some white in there. A little bit more blue. looks in here. Yeah, that's better. I can make it bluer. It's a little too dark. That's better. Might need to lighten up a little bit more. Kind of like what it's at the same time. It's better down there. Good morning. Just bring this whole thing to a finish. try and finish this morning. That's the goal here. Oh, there's a bot over on Twitch. I need to dispose of real quick. Let's get rid of that bot and get a drink real quick. First. Alright, Bosch. Poor little dog. We got up early this morning. Let's see. There's Twitch. First of all. Food. It's still showing over there, huh? Let's see if I can't. There we go. All gone. Hate those guys. It's annoying. That was some. Alright, let's get some blue in here. Let's make it dark and brackish. A good way to do that is to throw in this complement from the what's it called? The earth tones into the blue. It's too warm. That'll be okay. A little bit lighter. see. Good morning, Bosch. Gonna get some water. Good morning. There we go. Trying to bring this to a close this morning. I think we can push through with these final details that I need to clear on. It's a pretty small painting, so I put on these goofy reading glasses so I can get access. Hey, Bosch, you can lay down? Come down, lay down under my feet. My little buddy, my Bosch. Good morning. Let's see, come over here. There is some attention with the light. see. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. Trying to bring this to a close this morning. I've been spending about an hour or so every morning on it this week, and that's kind of a study project. I saw this guy doing some mixREF stuff with, like, Photoshop drawing. It's like, hey, I should try that with acrylic. So here we are, trying it out. Gave this one a background, like he did put backgrounds on his, so that makes me feel extra, extra special, double time. So I'm kind of cleaning out background stuff, and then I'll work my way forward. What we got ourselves going on here. No, it's this is just a random thing that I'm doing, so it's not for anything in particular. I decided last year in the fall. When I was teaching at a university, in this class I had, we were going to use acrylic because they wouldn't let me use oils. I prefer oil painting, but I hadn't really used acrylic very much since I was a student. So I was like, well, we'll give acrylic a try. We'll see how it goes. And anyway, I was happier than I anticipated I would be with the acrylic piece that I did. So I was like, well, maybe I should give acrylic another try. Maybe I didn't like it back then because I didn't have a lot of painting experience, and B, acrylic has a lot of its own kind of unique working properties, and I just didn't enjoy those properties back then. So I was like, oh, maybe we'll give acrylic a bit more of a try. So I thought I would start doing a bunch of warm-ups and studies with it, looking at different techniques and media and subjects. So last weekend plus, I was doing a bunch of photo studies, so just images from photographs and blend them all together. One of them, for some reason, really popped off, and I don't know why, but on my Instagram account, for some reason, like I taped over this guy in the background and put in a background around him just to not paint over him by accident, and for whatever reason, people really liked that picture. And so, sorry to worry, it's not for good reasons. Like, I think a lot of people thought it was like a weird kind of poop joke, which it wasn't at all. But can't tell people what to think, right? Most of the time. Color. So I think it was some of the initial blobs I put in were underneath him, under the tape, or behind, while he was under the tape, and so I think some people thought it was something else. That's Rainland Studios. No, it's not My Art Professor. It's Rainland Studios. Now maybe you can explain it to me, but anyway, I was doing a bunch of studies with just photos, and I saw this guy do this mixed reference thing, which I've also kind of done. But he basically takes he was taking a small piece of reference and then turning that into a character. It's like an image of a lizard or a plant or something like that. Random things. What's it called? Like a little piece of technology, like a headlight on a car, a flashlight or something, and then turning that into a character or a robot or whatever. I thought that would be interesting. He just had gray backgrounds. He was just focusing on the characters. But I'm like, hey, why not put in an actual background, right? Why hold back? So, and then I found this, turkey tail fungus in the background. I'll type it in over on the other window here real quick, so it's easier to find. Where are you at? Yeah, I was just surprised why it popped off. It's like, usually I'll get like a few hundred, likes or whatever on a post. And this is, I think it's up to 18,000 now or something, which is weird. It's, it's a reel, but still. I don't usually get that level of interaction. And then over 800 new followers as well, so. So, yeah, I just dropped that Instagram in there. Welcome to Fallout Center. It's not a big deal, but I was just surprised by the reaction to it. I was just painting in this kind of mossy background behind him, and then everyone else is like jumping on the image for some reason. Let's go with orange in the shadow next. So we're going to mix that orange with the blue. Over here, let's do a little darker. I appreciate it. It's very nice of you to say. But like I said, I was just surprised by how that post popped off. I was like, I wasn't expecting that kind of response to something I wasn't particularly focused on. Just like a random picture. So um, go a little bit lighter. Good one. Oh yeah. Well, you're always welcome to. I'm on all the places, as they say, right? So it's kind of important to be there. Whatever's going on with the different platforms. Yeah, so I post a lot of time lapses and I live stream over there as well. But if you want the full chat experience, you got to kind of be on, the YouTube or Kick or DLive or whatever. DLive was going after me the other day. I don't know what was going on. I sent them a help request, which I doubt I'll ever hear back on. But they were like, "You are doing R X-rated content, mature content." I'm like, "No, I'm not." Talking to the bot, right? And it's like, "You are doing X-rated content. We are gonna mark your channel." I'm like, "But I'm literally not. Like, there's no nudity, no nothing on here." And but it was just like going after me. I don't know why. I think maybe I thought my fingers were something. That's the only thing I've been able to guess is that maybe I thought my thumb or my finger was something other than what it was. I'm like, no, it's not that. No, it's just me. I wouldn't do that anyway. Yeah, so I've been doing a bunch of morning studies. I was doing, some more simpler things for a bit where I, was just copying photos, but I like to do this, try to push it into the areas of imagination first, as quickly as I can. I think that's one of the big keys to studying and mastery in general is to take what you've learned into something applicable as quickly as possible. And so you have like an exercise or a thing you're practicing or whatever, but as soon as you can, you want to get it into your whatever it is you want to accomplish. I think it's a mistake I made early on where I thought, well, you had to be really good at something before you tried to make it into something. And what I found over time was that most of the people I know who are successful artists, no matter what their profession, fine art painter or illustrator or concept artist or graphic designer, whatever their market is, I found that those who are usually the most successful at it, um, they use their studies in order to uh, make their vision happen. And so instead of trying to get good at something and then seeing what you can do with it, they're trying to take what they've learned to enact the thing that they want to do. So, if they need to understand perspective, they don't necessarily sit down and like learn perspective and then say, oh, okay, what am I going to do with all this perspective stuff I've learned? Instead, they're like, oh, I need to know perspective so I can do this amazing painting of a car or a building or a scene or create more depth in my pictures. And so they learn a skill in order to accomplish that thing. So I think it's where a lot of children kind of start, right? So when you're a little kid, like you draw these things because you really, really like them, right? Cartoon characters or manga or anime or comics or whatever. And you hyper focus on getting good at drawing them so that you can tell your own stories with them or make your own compositions or whatever. I think as you get to it as an adult, you want to like show your skill level rather than your pursuit of vision. And I think the skills are there to augment the vision. Not that there isn't a place for focusing on skills, but it's always there with a purpose. Otherwise, it's just you're just trying out different things. So so I tried to adjust a lot of my teaching to kind of fit with that that understanding for my students. That the reason I have them learn these things is a step in the process for doing other things. That feels a lot more luminous, right? Let's see, any other colors I need to stick right there? I think maybe this could still go a little lighter. All. So again, with like acrylics, like I do want to like try out different, ways of working and so I can improve, but I also want to make sure that I'm doing it in a way that gets me where I want to go. Like I want to, because of all the AI stuff, I kind of wanted to start doing personal concept pieces in traditional media, in analog media, as I prefer to call it. And I think that's partially related, at least, to that. But so I've been looking back at a lot of like older concept art and thinking, maybe we lost something when everybody switched over to the computer. It was like, well, it's easier and it is faster. And I hear that same argument for using generative AI. Well, it's easier and it's faster. And I'm like, I wonder if maybe we caused ourselves our own problems by adopting digital so quickly. And so so quickly. I'm talking to some older, concept artists and about this, and kind of speculating about why things are the way they are. The problems we see in media, the conglomeration of these different corporations, and the poor quality content that's often put out from major studios and big directors and big blockbuster budgets. And I'm wondering if the ease of the tools has necessarily caused a drop in the quality of the people using them. That maybe focusing a lot on them, or more than so much that we have, that maybe it's undermined our ability to think for ourselves and think through problems and all of that important stuff. So, um, so that's kind of a thing that's been in my head for a while. That what if focusing on it was the wrong thing to do? And I've always kind of done both in terms of professionally and and in school teaching just by necessity. Because when I was a student, digital was still kind of brand new. Like not even many professors that I had used it very much or knew what to do with it. Like I think I only had one professor who really knew digital tools. Even wrote some books, Don Siegmiller, on digital painting back then, some manuals and things. And so, but I keep thinking about that a lot. Like what, kind of making that the focus of so much of it, that we actually hurt ourselves with our artistic expression and our abilities by doing that. And I'm not like saying to get rid of it. I'm saying maybe it needs to be less emphasized in a lot of art school programs where illustration is the focus. Um, but I get looks from people when I talk about that, so maybe I'm crazy. I need to put something over this a little bit just so it's not so intense. Use a larger brush for that. Use my little filbert. What is this one for? One of the tricks in painting is to put down transparent stuff and then match its value as close as you can with something opaque or more opaque than it is. It could be slightly lighter too, depending on what you're doing, but generally speaking, you want to be opaque and maybe of a slightly different temperature. And it can have like a really nice calming effect on things. Let's see how this looks in a little spot there. And you keep it somewhat transparent or somewhat see-through in those areas. And can add like a nice bit of depth in the B-flats things. Which might be more apparent, in the in-person painting, not the online overhead camera version of it. texture back there. Atmosphere. That'll be better. Overall. All right, I think the background feels pretty good now. Let's say one, two, maybe the green and the shadows. Too light. That should be okay. Just trying to soften these background back a little bit. And some of these harder, sharper edges. Let's see. Yeah, but this is kind of what it takes to really finish something. It takes time and trial and effort. And good morning. planar changes in the thing. Whatever that is. All right. Good morning. All right. Let's do some of this foreground stuff. Good morning. That's better. Let's switch back to the foreground. See if we can't knock this thing out, huh? And for an hour and a half this morning. Let's see what he'd say real quick. Good morning. How are we doing over here? What do you think? Getting close? So next up is our little friend up here. Work back into him some more. So I should probably separate this off a little bit so that it continues. We need to clean up his contours and make some decisions on the edges. But yeah, it's been the last hour and a half working mostly the back, a little bit of the foreground, but mostly the background here. So now we're going to work on our little friend here. Make sure his contours are working. Probably start with these shadow sides. Make sure these are nice and overlapping that background. Make sure he pops forward. Just a little red in there. Little alizarin crimson. So there's my returner. Good morning. What does it say to, pop in, ask questions, let me know your thoughts. See if you see a problem I don't see. That's actually always helpful. Get outside views. Doesn't necessarily mean I always agree with them, but it's always helpful to hear how people are responding to something. Transparent red with ivory black. The color I wish they had was the emerald red. Alizarin's okay, it's just a little colder than I'd like. I can get Gamblin to start making acrylic. Let's see. Nice clean edges on this thing. We'll work our way around it. Right? That's the plan. Sharpen it up. That's almost sharp. And over here on this side. Let's clean that edge up. There we go. That's better. Alright, and inside of that looks good. Let's get you. I think we should be able to finish this morning, so I'm excited about that. next outside edge. Let's get this all cleaned up. One of the little tricks I've found with art stuff too is that if you're looking at something in your picture and you think it might bother you a little bit, chances are it'll bother your audience a lot. But, you know, well, the face is just a little bit off, or the nose is just a little bit off, or composition is just a little bit unbalanced. And I found those little bit things to often be what people tend to notice the most. So it's always kind of a sign of something to repair or adjust or adapt or whatever the circumstances call for. In this case, I do want to make sure, you know, the outside edges are all nice and articulated. Pretty small painting though, so you know it's got to be really careful. Things that might be okay in a larger picture are not okay here, and vice versa. We don't want any lost edges, but I think we do want to be selective. Rather than just randomly letting things happen. After this, I've got a bunch of stuff I gotta do, so I'm just gonna prioritize my list. Today's a chores day. So finishing this off, and I've got like 500,000 things to do. Try to get done in a single day. The one that requires appointments might be the first one to deal with. Good morning. Oops. Now I need to work on our robot himself. Let's figure out some of these panel edges here. Good morning. So the goal is to push through and basically finish this today. Good morning. Popping in. Trying to bring this to a close. Good morning. Articulation, right? Oof. Good times, though, I think. I'm having a good time. Let's get that shadow edge on there. Tertiary and darker. Yeah. Good morning. those shadows out. Wrong color. Definitely getting there. Balance out the light side. It's a dull green. Coffee. Let's see, 2 hours, huh? Pretty good so far. What do you think, Bosch? What does the puppy think on the floor? He's hoping the human won't step on him. That's what he's thinking. Try feeling better. Alright, now let's get some orange in that green. Some yellow. See if we can't paint some reflections in here. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning. Much water on the brush. I don't know how that happens. Well, I do. Just keep thinking I've removed it when I haven't quite gotten all of it. More of this. Maybe a lot more because it's taking its sweet time getting over there. I wasn't putting off any color. I was like, where's all the color? I appreciate that. Thanks for coming in. Just trying to bring this thing to a close. Working on this all week, so I figured if I put in 2-3 hours this morning, maybe I could finish it. So put a bunch of time into the background, and then working on this foreground now. So that's what we got going down here. Let's get a drink. Find something else to listen to. My eyes can't see very far away with these things. Plant watering system just turned on. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I need some light on here. Good morning. What are we doing? For what? 2:30? We'll go with hater season, huh? Hello, over there on Kick. Appreciate that. I'd have to look at what you do. I don't know. Like, I don't just follow people because I got followed. So, yeah, I don't tend to work that way. I don't even think I'm following anybody. If I were to check. So I don't really watch live streams very often, so or maybe that's just a me problem. But you are certainly welcome. Oh yeah? Good morning. Good morning. Oh yeah, I don't know. YouTube can be weird, right? Um, Sometimes it shows me things, sometimes it doesn't show me things. But I'm not sure always what's going on over there. But yeah, rendering. Yeah, it's about kind of understanding materials and lighting and surface qualities, and it takes a lot of work. Um, so yeah, just taking time to do this right. I thought I would try and finish this morning, or at least mostly finish it. We'll see if I actually get to finish it, but that's kind of the goal here. Good morning. Ooh. Good morning. How do I feel about this with my glass? Oof, that hurts. I'm wearing these reading glasses the whole time. Put those back on. And then we'll touch up the fungus, I think, and then we'll take another look at things and see if we're done. Almost there. Let's see if we can't push through and effectively finish this today. I think that's the thing that I would like to do. Good morning. some of those darker areas back. Good morning. Kung hei fa choi. How we doing out there in the fragrant harbor? That's the direct translation, so we should just call it that, right? That's the English word for it. I always wondered if that was kind of a joke, like maybe it smelled bad or something. A very British joke. trying to finish this off today. Started this beginning of the week, I think. Okay, back there, buddy. Probably need a bath anyway, but maybe we'll do that today too. Got like 100 chores to do today, so thought I would finish this in as much as I can, hopefully all the way. And then I got taxes to do, and grading, and paperwork. I gotta find a replacement windshield for my car. Get that scheduled. It's all very exciting stuff. Oh yeah, it's hot out there in Hong Kong right now. We had a big freeze here in January. But there was like ice on the street, and it didn't go away for days. It was really cold. Like well below freezing. Okay, that's quite warm. Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't like actually about living in Florida was the weather didn't change very much. I feel like the weather changed actually more in Hong Kong than it did in Florida. Um, but yeah, it's warming up now, so but it's like nice warm, not crazy warm. So we're about to hit the end of February, and spring is on the way. And that feels better. Putting on these reading glasses so I can see the details. It's really small. Yeah. Well, it's like I have this coat that I really like. I used to wear it when I was in Hong Kong. I still have it, but in Florida, I think I wore it like 2 or 3 times because it's just too hot. Even when you're inside the classrooms, you cool off, but it was just too hot for the coat. But it's still in pretty good condition considering when I bought it. Just this week, so I think I put in 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 hours before today, and so now I'm put in. We're coming up on 3 hours this morning, so I'm trying to kind of get the finish in here today. I might, do a little bit more tomorrow, but I'm trying to get like effectively where I don't really see much that I want to change by the end of today. The idea behind this exercise is I've been, pulling out acrylics, and acrylics actually a medium I've generally avoided for a very long time. So I didn't like it as a student. I just felt like it felt weird to work with. It's kind of sticky and thick, and it dries fast. So I didn't like how acrylic worked. And I had a class last fall teaching illustration, and I decided to go with acrylic in that class. And because they wouldn't let me do oils, basically. So I was like, well, we'll just focus on acrylic in this class. And anyway, I did a painting I was pretty happy with. It was the first one I'd done that was finished since I was a student. So a long time, 21 years or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I didn't like acrylic because maybe the working properties were a bother too, but maybe it had as much to do with the fact that I didn't know how to paint very well when I was first using it, and maybe that got in my way. And so I've done a bunch of studies over the last while, ever since I was like, maybe it's not so bad. Finished painting, the girl jumping, did that in acrylic. That was supposed to be a quick sketch, somewhat similar to what I'm doing here, but I took it well beyond that, so I spent a lot of time on that one. Then there's a time lapse still up for that. But so I was like, maybe we'll play around with this some more. So I saw a guy do. I was doing these little studies last week, and then this week I was like, we'll do this. after I saw this guy do a bunch of pages of character designs where you take a small piece of reference and then put it into a character design. And he was doing it in Photoshop, but I was like, it might be interesting to do that with the acrylic paint. And I'm trying to like shift doing more analog or traditional media as it is. So I was like, well, that could be an interesting kind of experiment. So I started doing that, and then I was like, well, let's put a background in. So let's give him some context, and then here we are, a week later. So I could probably get this done like in a day, day and a half. If I would just the only thing I was focusing on of full-time effort. So yeah, so I thought I'd play around with it some more, and so I've got all these acrylic paints. I had to teach it a number of years ago at Kutztown University in Pennsylvania as well, and um, so I had a bunch of acrylic paint anyway. So I thought, well, I'm going to start using it up. I think one thing I'd like to shift to is I bought all the heavy body stuff, but I kind of wish I'd gone with the soft body acrylic. Um, so I had a little fun with it. I mean, I looked at it like when I was showing my students, the artists that I know that whose acrylics I like, different illustrators, mostly fantasy people, sci-fi people like Doug Chang, who's a concept artist, was creative director at Lucasfilm, but he's been with them a long time. He did a bunch of acrylic concepts for the Phantom Menace back in the day. He has also a whole book called Robota, full of acrylics that he wrote. He illustrated and wrote with Orson Scott Card, who's famous for like Ender's Game, Speaker of the Dead, all those kind of books. But so there's a bunch of acrylics in there. So I was kind of paying attention to these techniques. James C. Christensen, John Jude Palancar, Michael Whalen, a bunch of these really great illustrators. I was like, well, I'm looking at their techniques so I can kind of read how they're working their paintings. I can see the layers and the strokes they're using and kind of understand their process. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should give it another try. So I thought I would devote some time to this medium. So I'd like to do some concept pieces for my little comic project with it. Some landscapes or creature stuff. So that's what I've been up to with this. Yeah, so maybe I should give crack cocaine a try or something now. Now that I'm okay with acrylic. There's other things I've been harsh about, I didn't like, and didn't want to try, didn't want to bother with. So maybe I should expand my horizons a little bit more, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what's going on here. Just trying to bring it to a final kind of render today. So hopefully get mostly done today, and then I'll take another look at it today or something. How are how are the other bees doing in Hong Kong? Hmm. Yeah, it's weird wearing these reading glasses. I've never worn them really until recently, working on these and my other drawings, because my eyes were wearing out a lot. I was getting a lot of eye strain off of using these, not using them, trying to see these fine details and things, and so. Oh, okay. Hermoso, huh? Like handsome or beautiful or something? Yeah. I talked to a guy who's graduating from SCAD with a master's degree recently. I had concerns about the program there. So their master's program is really just taking more of the regular classes. It's not like a special program where you work on a body of work or whatever. It's more like you write a paper and then you um, take other classes. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a master's program to me, but. Yeah, I was very concerned with the things he was telling me. He says, I guess their illustration program is pushing AI, which is a big problem. Especially if they want their students to participate in competitions. Like you can't use it. A lot of professional illustrators, that's like a big no-no. But they're pushing it at SCAD. inside illustration. Like I could at least understand in some of the other areas, but illustration, I mean, it's like, what are you even going to school for? It's their department chair that's pushing it. I was just like, oh, well, I know her, Casey Nelson. How are we feeling about that? Man, look, this thing isn't very big, right? So it's like, it's just slightly, well, the same size as my hand, basically, right? Maybe half, maybe a millimeter taller than my hand. So painting's pretty small. Um, I gotta wear these the whole time I'm working on this. I'll take them off. All right, anything else popping out to me? Get some down on some of these spots. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm not used to wearing glasses at all. It's kind of interesting too. Well, interesting. It's a little bit sad, but my dad passed away last December. So just this last year. These are actually his. Um, so But so these are his. My mom was like, "Well, I can't use these, so take these." And she's like, "Oh, take all of his toothpaste and toothbrushes." So it's my inheritance, I guess. But, it was a long. He had a long battle with brain cancer. 2 years long, or well, 2 years when it was found. Basically, he died a week, 2 years and a week after that. So he's been struggling with that for a very long time, and it was very hard on him and stressful for my mom. And, obviously, because they've been together since just before the year before I was born, and but it was hard for him because it kind of stopped all the things he was really doing, things he had accomplished recently, and had to kind of end some of that early. All right. Yeah, so the really glasses, all they really do is like magnify what's in front of me, so I can see the small details. I should probably just work larger, but originally I was just going to do like a quick painting of the guy, and then I decided to go well beyond that, and so here we are. I always take things too far in every part of my life. But yeah, so yeah, for him it was like a really. I mean, I wasn't living there, obviously, so I was in different states. I was here in Virginia when it first started, and so I was just dealing with it mostly when I was visiting with them. Um, let's see. All right, let me see. Oh, my eyes. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and pause there. I think I've done all the damage. A little bit of this highlight there, a little highlight there. I guess I should put these little shadows in the foreground on the plants. All right, I think I should probably go ahead. I got a little highlight I suddenly see right here that I need on top of this thing. It goes down. Alright, I should stop here. Get cleaned up and get onto my chores I need to do that I am putting off. People I need to call, the things I need to figure out, grading, taxes. And then I can get back to the regular art stuff. I can knock all that out of the way. So, thanks everybody that came in. We'll see you all later.